part of Indonesia, and Indonesia also have 17,508 islands. So it means that if you go to Indonesia and travel Indonesia and go to Bali, you would be able to enjoy your vacation much more because now you can speak the local language, right? So yeah, so those are some interesting facts about Bahasa, and now let's get started. In this lesson, you will first of all learn about formal and informal Bahasa. We will tell you what is formal Bahasa and what is informal Bahasa. And after that, we will learn some very basic grammar, and then we will learn some vocabulary, and also we will learn some sample sentences and create your very first sentences in Bahasa, so you can practice your Bahasa right away. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, let's start by explaining and telling you what is the difference between formal and informal Bahasa. So basically there are two types of Bahasa, formal and informal Bahasa. Formal Bahasa are Bahasa that is used for formal occasions. For example, business meeting, lecture, if you go to university in Indonesia or something like that, or if you meet a person for the very first time, you will usually need formal Bahasa, and you would usually use formal Bahasa. And then number two, we have informal Bahasa. This is a form of Bahasa that is usually used for like close friends or your family members or people or persons that you already know for a long time. And in these lessons and some future lessons, you will be introduced with formal Bahasa first, because you cannot go wrong usually with formal Bahasa, and usually you will use your Bahasa with people that you just know, right, to introduce yourself and stuff like that. And therefore it is much better if you know formal Bahasa first. But of course in the future you will learn informal Bahasa and talk more casually. So now let's just start this lesson by learning some grammar. As you know, grammar is the most important thing, very basic. It is important for you to understand very basic grammar of any language that you are learning. And today we will be learning subject pronouns. Okay, the subject pronoun of Bahasa, it is quite simple. Like number one is, how do you say I? I is saya. Okay, I is saya. So it is not very complicated. So saya, I. And then how do you say you? You is kamu. So ka and mu. So you have kamu. And then how do you say they? They is mereka. Okay, try to always say it after me. Okay, repeat after me so that you also learn how to say the word correctly. So again, how do you say they? They is mereka. Mereka. Now next, how do you say kami? Sorry, how do you say we? How do you say we? We is kami. Kami. Okay, how do you say she or he? Now this is something interesting, because in Bahasa, there is no she and there is no he. You just simply say the same word, which is dia. Again, dia. Okay, and then how do you say it or that? It is itu. Again, itu. So yeah, so those are the most basic grammar that you will learn today, and those are the subject pronouns in Bahasa. So now let's try to quiz yourself. So try not to look to the video if you are watching this on YouTube, or just simply test yourself. Okay, I will say the English subject pronouns and try to answer the question using the Bahasa version. Number one, how do you say I? 1, 2, 3. Saya. How do you say they? Mereka. mereka. How do you say she or he? 1, 2, 3. It's dia. Good. So try to repeat that over and over again until you master the subject pronouns in Bahasa. Okay? So yeah, after we have now learned about some grammar, now it's time for us to learn a little bit about vocabulary. So now let's learn about vocabulary or kosakata in Bahasa Indonesia. You do not need to memorize kosakata for now because it is a bit advanced. But for now, we will learn 4 basics verbs that you will use every day in your Bahasa, exercise. So how do you say eat? Eat is makan. 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 How do you say go? Go is pergi. So as you can see here, we pronounce the R quite clearly. So it is kind of like Spanish. If you guys speak Spanish out there, I think you will notice that Indonesian pronounce the R quite similar to the Spanish language. To the Spanish. So it's pergi. Again, pergi. And how do you say drink in Bahasa? It's minum. 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 And how do you say buy? Buy is membeli. Membeli. Okay, so again, try to repeat it over and over again until you master it and you can pronounce it comfortably. Now, before we move on, let's learn 2 useful expressions. I think learning expression is very important in your language learning, whatever language you are learning, because useful expression is something that you actually can use right away. So you can already say, you can just say it to anyone really when you just want to practice your language. We will learn 2 useful expressions. Number 1 is hello. It's quite similar. It's hello. Hello. Okay, hello. Hello. So the natural way of saying it would be hello. And then we have good morning. It is selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. So the natural speed would be selamat pagi. The slow speed would be selamat pagi. Okay, so again, try to practice it, as often as you can so you can master it, as I mentioned multiple times by now. Now, after you have learned a little bit about grammar and you have learned a little bit about vocabulary in Bahasa, it is time for us to create some sample sentences so that you know more and you can create your first sentence in Bahasa. So these are 4 sample sentences that you will learn today. Number 1 is hello, selamat pagi. That's the natural speed, and the slow speed would be hello, selamat pagi. Okay, I hope you already know what this phrase means. Hello is hello, of course, and selamat pagi is good morning. So hello, selamat pagi is hello, good morning. Okay, and then number 2 we have saya pergi. Saya is I and pergi is go. So saya pergi is I go. And I will tell you a good news here. So the good news here, at this point, you do not really need to conjugate the verb. Unlike English, when you say she goes and then you say I go, you need to change the verb. You need to conjugate the verb go into goes if you change the subject from I to she or he or it, right? But fortunately in Bahasa, you do not need that. You just simply use the same verb for any subject pronoun. So for example, again, if you want to say I go, it is saya pergi. If you want to say she goes, it is dia pergi. You go, it is kamu pergi. They go, it is mereka pergi, and so on and so forth. So basically it stays the same. Number 3 is mereka makan. Mereka makan is, mereka is they and then we have makan here, which is eat, and then mereka makan is they eat. The same again, if you want to say si eats, you can just say dia makan, and so on. And the last one is dia minum. Dia is she or he. Of course, when you just say dia, you do not know the gender of the person, so you do not know whether it is a she or it is a he, right? So it will need further elaboration, and it will need the context. I think the context will make it clear. But at this point, dia minum can both mean she drinks or he drinks. Okay? But again, if you want to change it into I drink, you can just say saya minum. So very simple. And by just knowing this simple rule, you can now already make many sentences and practice your bahasa, right? So if you have understood that, now let's test yourself. How do you say we go in bahasa? I will give you some time. We is kami, and go is pergi. So we go is kami pergi. And then you drink. And what about si eats? Okay, so if you know the answer of those two questions, go write down your answer to the comment sections, and we will check, and we will also correct if you are making a mistake. And it's fine to make a mistake. I made a lot of mistake when I learned English for the very first time, and I think now I'm still making mistake, and it's fine, really, right? So don't get discouraged if you still don't understand this lesson. Try to watch it over and over again if you are watching this on YouTube, or try to listen to it over and over again if you are listening to this through podcast. Okay, so that's it, the lesson for today. You can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa and join our community on facebook.com/Bahasa Little Project. You can also find our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. And you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents. And by exclusive contents, I mean you will be able to receive PDFs, books on more vocabulary of Bahasa, more sample sentences, more conversation, and also you will join our exclusive Telegram group, in which you will be meeting your tutor there. I think you will be meeting me there. And then you can practice your Bahasa, and you can ask whatever question. So that's it for this lesson, and I will see you again in level 1, lesson 2. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome back to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1, lesson 2. Last time we have learned about basic grammar, especially about subject pronouns, and also some basic verbs. And this time we will continue that lesson, and we will learn some more and create longer and more complex sentences. By the way, my name is Alit, and I'm your tutor for this Bahasa lessons, and let's get started. Okay, we will start our lesson today by learning the grammar first. We will learn adverb of time. How to say yesterday, how to say today, and how to say tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with yesterday. How do you say yesterday? It is kemarin. Okay, again, repeat after me so that you can pronounce the word correctly. Kemarin. Natural speed, kemarin. Kemarin. Okay, that's yesterday. Now today. Today is hari ini. Hari basically means day, and ini is this. So hari ini is actually day this, or today, this day, right? So again, today is hari ini. Hari ini. Okay, hari ini. And then we have tomorrow, which is besok. 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 Okay? Tomorrow, besok. Yesterday, kemarin. And today, hari ini. So try to repeat it over and over again until you are feeling comfortable saying it and you understand all of it. And if you already do that, and let's now answer this very important question. I think a lot of people are asking this question. Do we have tenses in Bahasa? The short answer is no, we don't have it. But the long and complicated answer would be maybe, but not at the basic level. So at this point, you do not need to worry about it. So basically, you want to think at this point again that we don't have tenses in Bahasa. Of course, we will discuss it in more detail in the future, so don't worry about it, okay? So as I mentioned previously, for now, just try to memorize what yesterday, today, and tomorrow are in Bahasa. Okay, now try to answer my question. I will say the English and you answer with the Bahasa without looking or watching your video if you are learning through YouTube right now. Okay, how do you say yesterday? 1, 2, 3. Kemarin, right? How do you say today? Hari ini. How do you say tomorrow? 1, 2, 3. Besok. Okay, good job. If you already mastered that, now we are ready to go on and continue with some vocabulary. So these are the words that we will learn. Quite a few actually. We will learn more verbs this time. So the first is cook or memasak in Bahasa. Memasak. Memasak. Okay, cook is memasak. Study is belajar. 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 Okay, so cook, memasak, study, belajar. And then we have watch, menonton. 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 Okay, again cook, memasak, study, belajar, watch, menonton. And then we have listen, which is quite long, mendengarkan. Mendeng. You can hear the nasal sound there. Deng, kind of sound like French. Mendengarkan. Mendengarkan. And then we have write, which is menulis. Menulis. And then we have talk or berbicara. 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 And then we have see, which is melihat. 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 And then the last one we have bring, which is membawa. 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 Okay, so try to make sure to repeat it over and over again until again you are comfortable saying the word, and try to quiz yourself and test yourself so that you can memorize it well. If you have mastered and memorized all those words, now it's time to learn some useful expression, which is how are you? I think this is very useful when you are meeting your friend, your new friend. In Indonesian, you can say apa kabar. Apa actually means what, and kabar means news. So what news? What news do you bring? Or in this case, it means how are you? Okay, and please don't mind if you hear some barking there. It's my neighbor. So, but going back, so how do you say how are you? It's apa kabar. Okay, apa kabar. That's how you say how are you? Apa kabar. So natural speed would be apa kabar? Apa kabar? Okay. So yeah. So now let's create sample sentences using the grammar and also the verbs and the expression that we have learned just now. So we will learn at this point, we will learn 3 sample sentences. Number 1 is kemarin saya memasak. Kemarin, do you still remember how do you say kemarin? Kemarin is yesterday, right? So that's how you say yesterday in Bahasa. It's kemarin. Kemarin. Okay? Saya is, of course, you already know this. You already learned this from your first lesson, which is I, right? Memasak is cook. Alright? So, kemarin saya masak, in English it means yesterday I cooked. You see here now again, as I mentioned previously, at the basic level, we don't have tenses in English. So the same thing. So if you want to say let's say I cook every day, it would be just saya masak setiap hari. You do not know what setiap hari means, but basically if you want to know, it means every day. So saya memasak stay the same, no changes, no conjugation, no nothing. So you just change the adverb of time. So kemarin saya masak mean yesterday I cook. Of course in English you need to put extra ed after the word cook, right? But in Indonesian, you do not conjugate the word or the verb at all. So it stays the same. Kemarin saya masak, yesterday I cook, and tomorrow I will cook. You will need to put some word, which translate into will, and that is something that we will learn soon. But for now, make sure you understand what kemarin saya memasak means. Okay, so kemarin, yesterday, saya masak, I cook. And again, to re-emphasize it, we don't have tenses at the basic level. So, saya memasak stay the same whether it is in past, in the present, in the future. There are some changes. Number 2 is hari ini mereka makan. Hari ini is today, of course, right? Hari ini, and mereka is day, and makan is eat. So, today they eat. Hari ini mereka makan. That's the natural speed. The slow speed would be hari ini mereka makan. Okay. Number 3 is dia akan menonton besok. Dia, you already notice it means she or he, right? So dia, she or he, akan. Nah, this is something that I talked about just now. This is how you say will. Okay, this is how you say will in Bahasa. We will of course cover this in more detail, but for now just try to memorize that will is akan in Bahasa. Will is akan. Akan. So akan. So she will, dia akan. I will, saya akan. They will, mereka akan. You will, kamu akan. Okay, so dia akan menonton. She or he will watch, right? Menonton means watch. What is besok? Besok is tomorrow. So dia akan menonton besok mean he or she will watch tomorrow. Yeah, so of course by knowing these sample sentences, now you can create your own sentences and you can practice combining the words that you already learned, and also by using and following the rules of grammar that you have learned. So now it's time for us to test yourself. So how do you say yesterday she wrote? Yesterday is, of course, it is kemarin, right? And she is dia, he also dia, and wrote is menulis. Of course, I hope you remember that you do not need to conjugate the verb into past tense or into future tense. The verbs stay the same. So yesterday she wrote, kemarin dia menulis, blah blah blah. Okay. So for number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself, based upon what you have learned, and try to write down the answer in the comment section if you are watching this on YouTube. So if you have mistakes, we will be able to see it and we will be able to correct it. And also if you have any questions about Bahasa, feel free to ask in the comments below, or you can email us also to bahasalittleproject@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group. You can find our podcast on Spotify. I hope it is already now on Google Podcasts. And also you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and to join our exclusive Telegram group, in which you would be able to ask me and practice with me if you have any questions. So thank you for learning with us. So that is your level 1 lesson 2. I hope you have learned something, and see you next time. we will learn much more at level 1 lesson 3. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 3. So far you have learned some Indonesian, of course, from the previous level 1 lesson 1 and level 1 lesson 2. I hope that you have practiced your Bahasa and have used it in your daily life so that you are getting more and more comfortable using your new language. Okay, so for this lesson, we will learn some more grammar and we will learn some more vocabulary to keep improving the level of your Bahasa and also to keep making your sentences longer and also more complicated. If you are ready, let's get started. Number 1, we will learn about adverb of place. Last time in the level 1 lesson 2, we learned about adverb of time, right? And this time we will learn about adverb of place. Number 1 is how to say at. In Bahasa, it is di. It is also as simple as at, I think, right? So in English, it is at, and then in Bahasa, it is di. Di, okay? And then number 2 is in. It is kind of longer in Bahasa, it is di dalam, but it has the same first word, which is di. So in is di dalam, dalam, okay? And on, what about on? On is di atas, di atas, okay? So again, at is di, in is di dalam, and on is di atas, okay? So those are the adverb of place that we will learn today in this lesson. And we will also learn useful expression. I think again this expression will be very useful for you in your daily usage of the language. So how do you say thank you? It is terima kasih. Okay? Terima kasih. Terima means actually accept or receive, and kasih means care or love. So you are receiving or accepting love from somebody else, and that's why you are saying thank you, right? So again, thank you is terima kasih. The natural speed would be terima kasih, and that's with the accent terima kasih. But the slow version would be terima kasih. Okay, number 2 is sorry. And I think again this is very useful when you're making mistake or when you are late, for example, to your office or whatever, to your meeting, and then you need to say sorry. Sorry is maaf. Maaf, maaf. Okay? Sorry is maaf. Maaf. And then very simple but very meaningful expression is how do you say yes? Yes is ya. Ya. Okay? So that's how you say yes. It's very simple. It's kind of similar also. Yes is ya. And then no is tidak. 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 Okay? So we have learned how do you say how to say thank you. It is terima kasih, and then sorry, maaf, and then we have also learned about how do we say yes in Bahasa, which is ja, similar to German, I believe, right? Ja. And then also, how do we say no in Bahasa, which is tidak. Okay? So those are the useful expressions that we learned today, and also we also have learned di dalam, and di atas for adverb of place. Okay? So it's time now to learn some new vocabulary. So these are the vocabulary that we will learn today, which are noun basically. Number 1 is school, is sekolah. 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 Okay, school is sekolah. And then we have home, which is rumah. 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 Okay, and then we have hospital, which is rumah sakit. Rumah again is home or house, and sakit means sick. Okay, so the house of sick, the house of sickness perhaps. So that's hospital in Bahasa. Rumah sakit. Okay, rumah is house or home, and then sakit is sick or being ill. And then we have park, which is taman. Taman. We have toilet, which is the same thing, this toilet. So if you are in emergency at the hospital or in Indonesia or at the airport or anywhere, and you need to go to the toilet, you can just say, toilet please, toilet, and people will understand you. Okay, and then restaurant is also kind of similar. I think this is originated from English and then absorbed into Bahasa. So restaurant is restoran. Okay, restoran. And then we have police station, which is kantor polisi. I think kantor is a word originated from the Dutch, from the Netherlands language, right? Yeah, because Indonesia has a very long relationship and history with the Netherlands, so that's why we have several, Dutch language, right? I'm trying to remember if that's the correct word. So yeah, basically, yeah, the Dutch language, and then we have policy. So kantor polisi means police station. I hope that when you travel to Indonesia, you will not need to go to kantor polisi or a police station. But if you need to, then that's how you say it. So again, police station is kantor polisi. Okay, so we have learned 7 nouns here. We have learned sekolah, rumah, rumah sakit, taman, toilet, restoran, dan sorry, I just use the and of in Bahasa, which is done. Okay, and then the last one is kantor polisi. So please try to always repeat it after I've said it, or just try to practice it by yourself. I will now say it again so that you can practice it again. So again, sekolah is, or school is school is sekolah, and home is rumah, hospital is rumah sakit, park is taman, toilet is the same, toilet, restaurant is restoran, and police station is kantor polisi. Good job. Okay, again, practice it again and again if you are still not comfortable saying it, until you feel comfortable saying it. And if you are already comfortable, now let's create some sample sentences. So you can create and build sample sentences or your own sentences using the grammar that you have learned and the vocabulary. Okay, so we will learn 3 sample sentences today. So kemarin, if you do not know what kemarin means, then it means you have to check out the previous lessons, because we have covered this in the previous lessons. Okay, so kemarin saya memasak di rumah. So you have learned the new words here, which is di rumah, right? So di is at or in, right? So here is at home, obviously. So kemarin is yesterday, saya memasak, I cook at home, right? And hari ini, today, mereka, they, makan, eat di restoran, at restaurant. Today they eat at restaurant. And then number 3, ya is yes, of course. Dia, she or he will, akan, you also have learned akan. That's the future tense in, I think in lesson 2 you have learned akan. So dia akan belajar besok di sekolah. She will learn or study, belajar, learn or study tomorrow at school. Okay, so you are, of course, you of course can create your own sentences based upon the grammar that you have learned in the 3 lessons that you have studied with, and also with the vocabulary that you have mastered and you have learned. So now let's test yourself, okay? So number 1 is yesterday she wrote blah blah blah, she wrote something at school. How do you say it? 1, 2, 3. Of course, yesterday is kemarin, and she wrote, we have discussed about past tense, present tense, future tense, right? In the lesson 2. So obviously you know that it is dia menulis, and at school is something that we have just learned just now, is di sekolah. Di sekolah. For number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself. If you want, so number 2 is today he watched blah 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 at home. How do you say it in Indonesian? And also number 3 is yes, we will talk at police station. Yes, we will talk at police station. How do you say it in Bahasa? If you are watching this on YouTube, try to make sure to write the answer, your answer, at the comments below, so we can check and we can correct if you are making a mistake. Okay, and if you are listening to this lesson at podcast, you can check out the YouTube, so you can also see the transcript of the words, the grammars, and the vocabulary, the sample sentences that we are using here. Okay, so that's the end. That's the end of our lesson today. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group and Facebook page, and you can also find our podcast on Spotify, and especially you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents if you would like to learn more, and also you will be able to join exclusive Telegram groups if you support us on Patreon. Okay, so I hope this is useful for you. Try to practice your Bahasa, as often as possible with friends, with your family members, or with us. And I will see you again at level 1 lesson 4 very soon. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 4. Last time we have learned some verbs as well as some nouns. We have learned subjects, and we have learned the adverb of time as well as the adverb of place in Bahasa Indonesia. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't listened or watched to those lessons, I really recommend you to do that before you continue with this lesson. Okay, and if you have, now it's the perfect time to improve your Bahasa and continue learning and continue your journey of learning Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so let's start our lesson today by learning grammar. And we will start this lesson by learning how to create negative sentences. So to create negative sentences in Bahasa Indonesia, it is relatively simple, because do not, does not, did not, or will not, all of them equal to tidak. Okay, so again, do not, does not, did not, will not, all of them mean tidak in Bahasa. Tidak. Okay, repeat after me. Tidak. Tidak. Okay, so we will use this tidak to say no, and we will create sample sentences, of course, using the new word that we have learned. And as you just learned, this word is very versatile because you can use it to mean do not, does not, did not, and will not. Okay, but before we move on, we will first of all learn 3 useful expressions. I think, again, as I mentioned this over and over again in every lessons that we have, useful expression is something that is important because you will be able to use this expression in your daily, activities. So we will start by learning how to say excuse me in Bahasa. To say excuse me in Bahasa, you simply just need to say permisi. Okay? How do you say it again? Permisi. Permisi. Okay? So that's how you say excuse me. Permisi. And then, how do you say good afternoon? We have learned good morning in the previous lesson. I think it was in lesson number 1. And here we will learn how to say good afternoon, which is selamat sore. You have learned the selamat part in selamat pagi, right? And this is the good afternoon version, which is selamat sore. So afternoon is sore in Bahasa. So again, good afternoon is selamat sore. And then we have good evening, which is selamat malam. Okay, so evening is malam, so selamat malam or good evening. Good evening is selamat malam. Okay, so we have learned 3 useful expressions. Number 1 is permisi or excuse me, and then we have learned selamat sore or good afternoon and selamat malam or good evening. Okay, so those are the useful expressions that we will cover, and also we will learn how to create sample sentences using the useful expression. Okay, all right, so now let's learn vocabulary first. So we will learn more nouns because previously in lesson number 3 we have learned several nouns, but I think now it is important for you to know more nouns in order to create a more complicated sentence. Okay, so beside learning more nouns, we will also learn how to say or an in Bahasa. It is quite simple because there is no differentiation between or an in Bahasa. So basically, if you want to say or an, you can just say sebuah. Okay, how do you say it again? Sebuah. 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 Okay, so a book is sebuah buku. So obviously, book is buku. It sounds quite similar, right? So again, a book is sebuah buku. A pen is sebuah pen. An apple, an here, but again in Indonesia, you just use the same word, which is sebuah, and then apple, which is apel. Again, relatively similar. Sebuah apel. Sebuah apel. That's the normal, the normal speed. Sebuah apel. A car is sebuah mobil. So car is mobil. Mobil. Okay? And then a TV is sebuah TV. It's the same as in English. TV is TV in Bahasa. And an artist is seorang artis. So now you are learning something else. So for things or stuff, for in animated object, you need to say sebuah. Okay? But for people, if you want to say a person, an artist, an actor, a doctor, you cannot say sebuah, but you need to change that into seorang. Okay? Seorang. So remember that we don't have a or an in Bahasa Indonesia, but we do have different counter, different article for stuff or thing, which is sebuah, and for animated object or for person, which is seorang. Again, an artist is seorang artis. Artist has the same word, very similar, artist, and then we also have actor, which is actor. Okay, actor. So you cannot say actor, but actor. So again, an actor is seorang aktor. Okay, always try to repeat your new vocabulary over and over again. It is very important so that you can master it and you can use it in your daily life when you are practicing your Bahasa. Okay, so those are the new vocabulary that we have learned today. And now let's create sample sentences. Sample sentence number 1 is kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Now, this is already complicated, of course, and it's quite long. So you need to really make sure that you have mastered the previous lessons that you have learned. Because if you haven't, then this is going to be very, very hard. But if you have followed all the lessons in the previous lesson thoroughly, and you have mastered all of those, these sample sentences are quite easy. So kemarin is, of course, yesterday. Mereka is they. Tidak is a grammar word that we have learned just now, which mean tidak, which mean no, right? Did not here. Menulis is write. Sebuah is and buku is book, and di sekolah is at school. So kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah is yesterday they did not write a book at school. So normal speed would be kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. That's maybe quite fast. Maybe a little bit too fast. So normal again, normal. kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Okay? So that's our sample sentence number 1, and then sample sentence number 2 is tidak. Hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah. Now you have to differentiate between the first tidak and the second tidak. Okay? Because tidak number 1 here means no, not, do not, did not, will not, does not, or do not, right? You also have learned the first tidak in the previous lessons when we learn about a useful expression. No is tidak and yes is ya, right? If you haven't, again, go check out the previous lesson. So here tidak means no, hari ini is today, mereka is they, tidak membeli, of course did not again because this action has happened in the past. Sebuah pen is a pen, di sekolah again at school. So here tidak, hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah, mean no, today they did not buy a pen at school. Okay? Number 3, our last sample sentence is maaf, besok dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah. Again, you have learned this expression, maaf, very useful, which means sorry, of course. Good job for remembering that. And besok is tomorrow, dia, he or she, tidak akan, will not, of course, right? So, tidak akan, this is something rather different. So, for did not, you do not need to add anything. You can just use did. You can just use tidak, and also for do not and does not is the same thing. But for will not, you need to add the extra akan, the extra will that we have covered previously. Akan mean will, so will not is tidak akan, which literally translated into not will, but in Indonesian it is that way. Okay, so will not is tidak akan, not will. Okay, so you know the different way of saying thing, obviously. So again, maaf is sorry. Besok dia tidak akan. Tomorrow he or she will not, or not will in English, but in Indonesian not will, right? Tidak akan menonton, watch TV at home. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear by now. Now let's test yourself. I think it's very important now to test yourself. Number 1 is, how do you say tidak? Yesterday she did not see an artist at school. Number 1 is tidak is of course no, and then yesterday, kemarin, she did not see an artist at school. Dia tidak melihat seorang artis di sekolah. Okay, so for number 2 and number 3, try to test yourself and answer the 2 questions and write down the questions. Write down the answer, your answer in the comment section below if you are watching this lesson on YouTube. And if you are not watching this on YouTube, for example, if you are listening to this on Spotify or something, then go ahead, find it on YouTube. The channel is the same, Bahasa Little Project, so you can see the question here, and you can also participate in answering the question, and we will check your answer and we will give you some correction if your answer is actually incorrect. Okay, so that's for our lesson number 4. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa also by joining our Facebook page. You can find our podcast on Spotify if you haven't already. And the last one, this is quite important. Support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and exclusive Telegram group. Okay, so I hope this lesson is useful for you. Remember to always practice your Bahasa out there and use it with friends, with your new friend, with your new boyfriend or girlfriend from Indonesia, so that you will soon master the language. Okay, so my name is Alit, and that's the end of our lesson number 4. We will see you again at level 1, lesson 5. Bye! Welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1, lesson 5. Good job for those of you who have completed until lesson 5. I think if you have done your job, you now are able to create sample and simple sentences, right? I keep saying sample sentences. So now you are able to create positive sentences and negative sentences. You also now some grammar and also some vocabulary of Bahasa Indonesia. I think now you are excited. I hope you are excited. You are excited to learn more about Bahasa Indonesia, and here we go. We will start our lesson today by learning some grammar. And this grammar is obviously very, very important because in this part we will learn how to ask questions in Bahasa. Of course, when you're speaking, when you have conversation with your friend, you will not only answer the question, right, but sometimes to make the conversation going nicely, two sides, you need to also ask question. And to ask question in Bahasa Indonesia, it is very simple. You just simply need to use apakah. Okay, so apakah can be used in present tense, in past tense, as well as in future tense. Okay, so again, how do you ask in Bahasa? You just need to use apakah at the beginning of your sentence. Apakah, okay? Apakah at the beginning of your sentence. So we will of course learn more about apakah, how to create sentence using apakah. But before that, let's learn one useful expression of the day, which is da or by. Maybe some of you have noticed me saying da at the end of the lessons. I think it was in lesson number 1 and lesson number 2 or something like that. But basically da means by. By. So by in Bahasa is da. So if you are going away or if you are ending the meeting with your friend or something like that, you can just simply say da, see you tomorrow, da, bye. Okay, so da, so with prolonged a, da, with prolonged a then here, right? Da. Okay, da. So, okay, so practice that so you have now another useful expression that you can use daily. Okay, now move on. We will learn now how to use apakah, and also we will learn some vocabulary. So this is the vocabulary that we will learn today. This looks quite long, but it is actually very simple. So besides, not only in addition to learning new nouns, we will also learn how to say with a, okay, with a friend, with an actor, with a nurse, with a teacher, with a police officer, whatever. So to say with a, you can just say dengan. So dengan means with, okay? So with is dengan, and you already learned seorang, which is a or an for people. And if you forget that, go back and review again. And watch again our previous lesson so you remember that again. Okay, so going back into what I was saying, so with is dengan, so seorang or seorang is a or an. So with a friend is dengan seorang teman. So here you learn new noun which is teman. Teman means friend. Okay, teman is friend, so with a friend dengan seorang teman. Okay, number 2 is police officer. Police officer is polisi, just simply polisi. Okay, so if you want to say with a police officer, you can just say dengan seorang polisi. And then actor, I think we have learned about this, is aktor. So with an actor is dengan seorang actor. So please be careful there because I think there is a typo there. If you are now watching this on YouTube, the seorang, just make sure that you understand it's typo. It's a typo. Okay. So again, with an actor is dengan seorang aktor. Okay. And next is nurse. Nurse is perawat. Perawat. Okay, so with a nurse is dengan seorang perawat. Dengan seorang perawat. Okay, that's the natural speed, the normal speed. And then doctor is dokter. Remember in Bahasa, we have covered this in previous lesson. You need to pronounce the R. Okay, so dokter. Not doctor or something like that, but dokter. Okay, so with a doctor is dengan seorang dokter. Okay, so next we have teacher. Teacher is guru. I think this word is originated from Sanskrit. Maybe, I'm not really sure, but I think it is already in an English word now, guru, like especially yoga guru or something. But in Indonesian, teacher is also a guru. So with a teacher is dengan seorang guru. Okay? And then last one, we have artist. I think we have also covered this in previous lesson. So with an artist is dengan seorang artis. Okay, so after we cover that, it is very important for you to keep repeating the new words that you have just learned so that you can be comfortable using it, and you can be comfortable when you are actually using the word in your daily conversation, in your daily life. So please try to make sure that you have you spare some time to actually say the words, the new words, over and over again. Okay, so now if you are ready with the new words that you have learned, and also with the new grammar that you have learned just now on how to ask question, now let's try to create sample sentences. So the question number one, no, the sample sentence number one is, maaf, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? That's the fast version. And the slow version would be, maaf. You of course already learned what maaf means. If you again forget it, it's a good idea to review it again. But maaf, of course, mean sorry, right? So maaf means sorry. So apakah? Here we go. You put the apakah, the question word at the beginning of your question. So sorry, did. You see, did, yesterday, day. So apakah is do, does, did, or will. And then kemarin of course is yesterday, mereka is they, write, menulis is write. You already learned that. Sebuah buku is a book, di sekolah is at school, and dengan seorang guru is something that you have just learned, which is with a teacher. So maaf, sorry, apakah kemarin mereka menulis, did yesterday they write a book at school with a teacher. Okay, so the most important thing here, you know how to form a question, interrogative question, an interrogative sentence, a question by using the word apakah. So basically, you just need to put the apakah at the beginning of your sentence, and that's it. You already form a sentence. Of course, when you are saying the sentence, you need to raise your intonation at the end so it sounds like a question. So for example again, maaf, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? Oh, the normal version would be, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? So practice it. Practice makes better. So keep practicing it until you can, you can say it comfortably. Number two is, apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? This is also very simple if you have mastered all the words that we have learned in previous lessons. Apakah means do, does, did, or will, right? So here, apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran? It would mean, did he today, or did today he eat at restaurant with a friend? So apakah again, do, does, did, or will. In this case it is a did because it is an action in the past, and hari ini is today, dia, she or he, right? Makan is it, di restoran is at restaurant, and dengan seorang teman with a friend. Okay, so apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? Remember to raise your intonation at the end. Apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? Okay, number three is apakah besok? Apakah besok? Of course, again, apakah is the question word here, and besok is tomorrow. So now you are creating the sentence in future tense. Apakah besok dia tidak akan? So here you are saying, apakah will tomorrow she not go? So not watch TV at home. So this is a little bit complicated because you are also not only using the interrogative form, but also you are using the negative form, which is tidak. right? Tidak means not. So basically you are saying that won he, okay? Won he. So I think by now you realize that you can put the adverb of time, which is here besok or hari ini or kemarin, anywhere you want really. Basically you can put it at the very front, you can put it at the middle of your sentence, and or you can also put it at the end of your sentence. So you can say apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah besok, or besok apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah, or just like the sentence you say apakah besok dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah. Okay, by putting besok or the word for tomorrow at the middle, maybe it seems it makes the sentence more complicated, but it is actually no, not really. But for now, try to just imagine if we just put besok at the end of your sentence, so it just to make it easier to understand. So apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah besok? So if you put it that way, it would I think it would be much clearer to you that apakah dia tidak akan would just simply won't he watch TV at home tomorrow. Okay, so again, number 3, the sample sentence number 3 is quite complicated, because again you are not only just using question word there, but you are also using negative word, which is tidak. Okay, so it become will not or won't he or she watch TV at home tomorrow, or in this sentence literally won't tomorrow he or she watch TV at home. Okay, I hope it is clear enough for you, and if it is not clear, please let us know. You can comment below if you are watching this on YouTube, and if you are listening this through podcast, go ahead to the YouTube version so you can also let us know if it is still unclear, so we can give you further explanation. Okay, all right, so those are the sample sentences that we will cover here, and now let's move on to test yourself. Number 1 is, did she see an artist at school yesterday? How do you say it? Of course, did is apakah. Apakah again can mean do, does, did, or will. So you can just simply say apakah here, and she is dia. She is melihat an artist, is seorang artis at school, is di sekolah. Yesterday is kemarin. So did she see an artist at school yesterday? Apakah dia melihat seorang artis di sekolah kemarin? Right? So yeah, for number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself. Number 2 is, did you talk with a police officer today? And number 3 is, won't he drink with a friend at a restaurant tomorrow? Quite similar to the sample sentence, so that you can exercise and practice more and really understand better about the concept. Okay, so again, try to answer the 2 questions and write it down on the comment sections below, so we can check it and we can correct it if you are making a mistake. So that's for today. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa and join our Facebook page. You can find our podcast on Spotify, and also you can support us on Patreon/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and exclusive Telegram group. Please make sure to ask whatever question you have about Bahasa if there's something that is unclear in the video or in the podcast that you are listening to, so that we can give you some further explanation and to make your journey of learning Bahasa smooth. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for you, and I will see you again in level 1 lesson 6 soon. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. This is your level 1 lesson 6. Okay, so welcome back to those of you who have learned with us since level 1 lessons 1. And for those of you who haven't, and you haven't watched the video from our first lesson, or if you haven't listened to the audio, if you are listening this maybe on Spotify, you maybe want to check our previous lesson first before continuing to this lesson, because obviously you want to build your understanding of Bahasa from the ground up, right? So go ahead, if you haven't watched or listened to our previous lessons, go check it out first before you continue to these lessons. And for those who have studied the previous lessons, now it's time for us to learn more. So far, we have learned some grammar, some vocabulary, some phrases, and some other stuff. And now, again, we will continue to learn some more advanced grammar, vocabulary, and phrases to help you improve your understanding of Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so before we move on, it is important for me to say that Bahasa Little Project is a project done by Xspace Bali. So if you want to, let's say, buy lesson notes or books, or if you want to contact us for private lessons, you can email us at xspacebali@gmail.com. And also, we would like to thanks our very generous donor who have supported us by donating to paypal.me/xspacebali. And for those of you out there who want to support us, you are also very welcome to donate any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. Okay, so now let's just move on into our lesson 6. In our previous lessons, we have learned about past tense, a little bit about future tense. Now it's the time for us to learn more and improve our understanding of present tense. Okay, if you remember, in previous lessons, we have told you that we don't really have a strict grammar in Bahasa, but we do have some part of grammar. Okay, and today we will learn about present tense. Okay, what you do habitually, every day, always, or usually. Okay, let's start by learning how to say eat or makan. Obviously, you have learned this word in previous lesson. If you haven't, or if you forgot about these words, go ahead and review and watch some of the previous lessons so you can review again how to say makan properly, how to say eat properly in Bahasa. But basically, to eat is makan. Okay? Repeat after me. Makan. Okay? Makan. So, I eat is saya makan. Okay? Saya makan. Okay? Saya makan. You also want to remember your pronoun. We have learned about this in our previous lessons. If you forgot about it again, you can review. Okay? You can learn back from our previous lesson. So there you go. I eat again is saya makan. You eat is kamu makan. Okay, and what about they eat? Mereka makan. Remember to pronounce the R clearly. Mereka. Okay, re. Mereka makan. Okay, we eat is kami makan. What about she eats and he eats? Remember, we don't differentiate she and he in Bahasa. We have explained about this in our previous lesson. So she eats and he eats is dia makan. Okay, so practice that. I think this phrase is very important and can be very useful in your daily conversation. Saya makan, kamu makan, mereka makan, kami makan, dia makan, and stuff like that, right? Because eating obviously is very important for our existence. So there you go, makan. Okay, you are now combining your pronoun with the word or the verb eat. Now let's learn about some adverb of time. As you can see in the video, if you are listening to this lesson on Spotify, You maybe also want to check out our channel on YouTube so you can see the spelling of the word and you can take some notes. Okay, so now we will learn how to say every day. Every day is setiap hari. Okay, let's repeat it again slower. Setiap hari. Again, you want to pronounce the word R clearly. Setiap hari. Okay. Now what about always? Selalu. Okay, selalu. Okay, the normal version would be selalu. 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 Okay. The normal speed for every day would be setiap hari. Okay, setiap hari. And the last one would be usually. Usually is biasanya. Biasanya. Okay? Again, the normal speed would be biasanya. Now, what you can do, you can combine the phrase that we have learned just now with the adverb of time. For example, if you want to say, I eat every day, how would you say that in Bahasa? I will give you a couple of seconds. I eat every day would be saya makan setiap hari. Or the normal speed would be saya makan setiap hari. Now let's move on to how do you say they eat every day? They is mereka, right? So mereka makan setiap hari. Okay? One more time, slower. Mereka makan setiap hari. So again, you want to pronounce the letter R clearly. Mereka, not mereka, but mereka makan setiap hari. Okay? And now you will realize that you can, just like in English, you can put your adverb of time at the end of your sentence, in the beginning of your sentence, or in the middle of your sentence. For example, now, how do you say, we usually eat? Kami biasanya makan. Okay? Kami biasanya makan. What about dia? Or in English, he always eats. Dia selalu makan. Okay? So there you go. You now know how to put adverb of time in your sentences, and you can also already create simple sentences now. Okay? So practice that, and after you have mastered that, we will now move on. Okay, so now we will learn some vocabulary. We will learn direction. Okay, vocabulary regarding directions in Bahasa. So the first one is we will learn how to say to school. To school is ke sekolah. So if you want to say to, and then you have a place, okay, after that, you need the word ke. Okay, ke. Repeat up to me, ke. Ke. So again, number one, to school is ke sekolah. So obviously school is sekolah. I think we have learned this in our previous lesson. And number two is to home. To home is ke rumah. Ke rumah. Number three is to office. Ke kantor. Ke kantor. Ke kantor. And then to airport is ke bandara. Ke bandara. And to market is ke pasar. Ke pasar. To class is ke kelas. And last but not least is to toilet is ke toilet. Okay, so practice that. Learn to pronounce the words correctly so that you can use it. Okay, ke sekolah, ke rumah, ke kantor, ke bandara, ke pasar, ke kelas, ke toilet. Now let's move on. So now we will create sample sentences using what we have learned. Okay, we have learned how to say yes, which is yeah, right? And we have learned all of this in our previous lesson. So again, if you don't remember this, go back and study our previous lessons. So number one is this sample sentence. Number one is iya, mereka selalu pergi ke sekolah dengan seorang guru. Okay, you need to first be able to know the meaning of the sentence. You obviously know iya, right? Iya is yes. So iya, yes. Mereka selalu pergi ke sekolah. That would mean what? They always go to school dengan with seorang guru, with a teacher. Okay? Now number two, can anybody tell me? Obviously I cannot listen to you. Oh, I cannot hear you. But you can just say it. Can you tell me the meaning of the sentence number two? Anyone? Okay, good job. I hope that you already know the meaning of the sentence number two because we have learned all the words in our previous lesson. Okay, before we translate the sentence, let's now pronounce the sentence first. Dia biasanya tidak pergi ke restoran dengan seorang teman. The normal speed would be dia biasanya tidak pergi ke restoran dengan seorang teman. He or she usually doesn't go to restaurant with a friend. Okay, and sentence number three. Apakah dia menonton TV di rumah setiap hari? Okay, does he or she watch TV at home every day? Okay, so you want to practice that so you can sound naturally when you are speaking or when you are saying these sentences. Because if you can, you already can use these simple and sample sentences in your daily conversation. Okay? So now is the time to test yourself. Okay, now you can write the answer of this question in the comment box, yeah, below this video. Or if you are listening to this on Spotify, you can go to YouTube and write the answer to this question so we can correct you if you are making any mistake. Okay, question number one is, how do you say, does he always see an artist at school? Does he always see an artist at school? Number two is, they usually do not buy book. And number three is, I do not study at home every day. There is obviously a typo here, so let me... No, I cannot. But yeah, I believe you understand and you know that you need a space in between every and day, right? But obviously doesn't matter because this is not an English lesson. But yeah, go ahead and try to answer these questions. Okay, translate these sentences into Bahasa and post your answer to the comment section below so we can know your answer and we can correct your answer. Okay, so that's for today. We have learned a lot. So again, email us at xspacebali@gmail.com to buy lesson notes, books, or for private lessons. You can also support us by donating any amount to PayPal. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons, and also you can find our podcast on Spotify. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something or a lot from these lessons, and I will see you in our next lesson. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. This is your level 1 lesson 7. Okay, so again, welcome back to those of you who have learned from us since our first lessons. And if you haven't, you want to check out our playlist on our channel or on Spotify because you need to learn from our first lesson before moving on. Okay? So we will now continue our lesson and learn more grammar, okay, more words, more vocabulary, and also more sentences. As always, Bahasa Little Project is brought to you by Xspace Bali. You can email us at xspacebali at gmail.com to buy lesson notes, books, or for private lessons. And you can also support us by donating any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. We are always very grateful to our generous donors who have donated and supported us. You can also follow us on Instagram and find our podcast on Spotify. Okay, let's move on now and learn some more grammar. And this time we will learn past tense. Last time in our lesson 6, we learned the present tense form of I eat, which is saya makan. Now let's learn the past tense form, which is saya makan also. So yeah, so this is just an example, a good example to show you that we don't really have a strict grammar in Bahasa. So for present and past, in this case, it's the same two words, saya makan, for I eat and I ate. So there you go. The present tense of I eat in Bahasa is saya makan, and also the past tense form of I ate in Bahasa is also saya makan. So it's the same thing. Okay? So basically you can use saya makan, kami makan, kamu makan, mereka makan. Something that we have learned in our previous lessons, both in present form and also in past form. Okay? So there is nothing left there to learn because it's exactly the same. Now let's move on and learn some more adverb of time. So last time we learned about the adverb of time for present tense, like every day, usually, and always. Now let's learn adverb of time for past tense, such as last week, last month, and last year. So last in Bahasa is lalu. Well, that's the rough translation. Okay, so basically, if you want to say last week is minggu lalu. So week is minggu. Okay, one more time. Minggu lalu. Okay, minggu lalu. That's the normal speed for last week. Minggu lalu. Now, last month is bulan lalu. Okay, so man is bulan in Bahasa. And this is something extra for you, some extra lesson. Bulan can also mean the moon, like the moon on the sky. Okay, so bulan can mean two things: man, as in last month, and also the moon. Okay, the moon in the sky. So again, last month is bulan lalu. Okay, bulan lalu. Bulan lalu. And last year is tahun lalu. One more time slower. Tahun lalu. Okay, tahun lalu. This is also a very interesting note for you guys. We usually do not really pronounce the letter H. So we do not really pronounce it as tahun, but tahun. Okay, one more time. Tahun. Tahun. Tahun lalu. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so now the next step is you can combine the phrase saya makan, kamu makan, and your new vocab adverb of time for past tense. Okay, so how do you say we ate last month? How do you say it in Bahasa? Kami makan bulan lalu. Or the normal speed would be Kami makan bulan lalu. Okay, move on. How do you say you ate last year? Kamu makan tahun lalu. Okay? Kamu makan tahun lalu. The normal speed would be kamu makan tahun lalu. Okay? So you can practice that. Try to combine your sentence and try to put your adverb of time also. Okay? So if you have done that, good job. Now it's time for us to move on. We will now learn some more vocabularies. And this time we will learn some cool vocabularies in connection with question. Okay? How do you make better or cooler questions or more complete question or more complicated questions? So first we will learn how to say when. When is kapan. Okay, slower. Kapan. Kapan. Okay, kapan. Where is di mana. Di mana. Di mana. Oh, that's the accent if you want to learn it. Di mana. Kapan. Okay. And who is siapa. 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 And why is mengapa. 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 Or we have the informal equivalent in Bahasa, which is kok. K-O-K. We will learn about it in the future, I believe. But for now, you can stick with mengapa. Okay? So one more time. How do you say why? Mengapa. Okay? How do you say what? What is apa? Very simple. Apa. 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 If you are, when you are angry, maybe at some point. Apa. And then, last but not least is how. This is quite long. Bagaimana. Bagaimana. Okay, the normal speed would be bagaimana, bagaimana. So, it is not bagai when you saying it quickly. It's bagai. Bagaimana. Okay? So yeah, practice that. Practice saying kapan, di mana, siapa, mengapa, apa, bagaimana. As natural as possible. And now we will also learn a very useful expression. Oh, there's a typo again here with useful. I believe you're English expert out there will notice that. So we will learn a useful expression of please. This is very important, right? Please do this, please do that. In Bahasa, if you want to say please, you just say tolong. 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 It's like too long, but, well, not really, but it's kind of like too long. So it's tolong. Tolong. So, please go. Tolong pergi. Okay? Please come. Tolong datang. Okay, so you need to practice that. Very useful little expression. Tolong. Okay? So now let's move on, and we have created sample sentences that you can practice with. So number one is kapan kamu makan di restoran. So the normal speed would be kapan kamu makan di restoran, with the accent kapan kamu makan di restoran. Kapan kamu makan di restoran. Okay? Kapan kamu makan di restoran. Okay? I hope that by now you already understand the meaning of the sentence, right? Because we have learned all the words in our previous lessons. But if you haven't understood it, you can go back and review our previous lessons. Okay? So obviously kapan is when, kamu is you. So when do you eat at the restaurant? Number two is dia tidak membeli pen minggu lalu. Dia tidak membeli pen minggu lalu. Normal speed would be dia tidak membeli pen minggu lalu. Dia tidak membeli pen minggu lalu. Okay? She or he did not buy pen last week. Okay? Dia tidak membeli pen minggu lalu. Number 3. Apakah mereka pergi ke airport bulan lalu? Apakah mereka pergi ke airport bulan lalu? The normal speed. Anyone can translate that to English, please? You can comment on YouTube on the comment section below. Well, obviously, I will tell you now the answer. Did they go to airport last month? Okay, so there you go. Practice that because you can use these sample and simple sentences in your daily conversation and practice your bahasa. Now it's time for some questions, I believe. Yeah, test yourself. Now this one, this is the time for you to practice, and you can submit your answer to this question by commenting on YouTube. If you are listening to this on Spotify, then you can go to YouTube and pause your answer there. It is important because we will be able to correct you. And if you have any questions also, you can also comment below. Okay, so the first question is, did we eat at restaurant last month? Oh, there's something wrong here. Did we eat at restaurant last month? That's it. Okay, so just ignore the school part. I do not know why we have the school there. So just, did we eat at restaurant last month? Okay, without school. Number 2 is, I did not buy a car last year. Again, there is a typo there. We need the T, but I believe you know that. So I did not buy a car last year. And the last one is, we bought a book yesterday. Okay, so answer those questions. And if you have any other question, go ahead, let us know, and we will try to answer your questions. And as always, you can email us at xspacebali@gmail.com to buy lesson notes, to buy books, or if you want private lessons. You can support us by donating any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. We are always very grateful to our generous donors who have supported us along the way. And obviously, you can also follow us on Instagram for additional lessons. And remember, you can find our podcast on Spotify. So that's it for our lesson today. I hope you have learned something from it. Remember, without practice, you will not make any progress. So make sure to practice and reach us out if you have any question. Good job for today, and I will see you in our next lesson. Dadah! Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. Selamat datang di Bahasa Little Project. Ini merupakan level 1 pelajaran 8. Okay, so for those of you who have been following us until now, you maybe are familiar with our introduction in the very beginning of our podcast or our lesson on YouTube. We usually say, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, right? So if you want to say that in Bahasa, you could say, selamat datang di Bahasa Little Project. So you maybe have figured it out by now. So welcome is selamat datang, okay? Repeat it after me. Selamat datang. Okay, selamat datang. Welcome. Welcome to Bahasa Little Project. Selamat datang di Bahasa Little Project. Okay, so yeah, that's just maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody out there are curious about how to say the introduction of Bahasa Little Project in Bahasa, right? Because I think that's fun. And then also, if you want to say level 1, lesson 8, for example, right? Level 1 is level 1. So I think you have learned numbering 1 to 10 in our previous lesson. So if you haven't, go back and review again and make sure you know your number, your basic number in Bahasa. Very important. Okay, so lesson is pelajaran. Maybe I have also discussed this. If I haven't, let me know, okay? So I can tell you more about
Well, actually, I can't tell you now. So if you want to say lesson, it's pelajaran in bahasa, okay? Pelajaran. So level 1, lesson 8 would be level 1, pelajaran 8. Okay, again, I believe I have covered numbering in our previous lesson. If not, then it will be covered in our future lesson, okay? Okay, so that's the introduction. Again, welcome to our lesson 8. And in this lesson, we will be learning future tense, how to say something that you will be doing in the future. Okay? I think in our previous lessons, we learned about present tense and past tense. And we also learned that we don't really have a strict grammar rules in terms of tenses in Bahasa, but we do have some rules. So it is important for you to know some rules. Okay, so let's get started. The most important part of future tense in English would be will, right? I will eat, I will sleep, I will drink, I will watch. So will. So what is will in Bahasa? It is very simple. It is akan. Okay, repeat after me. Akan. Okay, so akan. So will is akan. Okay, so remember that's the most important word of this episode, of this lesson. Akan. Okay, so one more time. How do you say will in Bahasa? Akan. 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 Okay, so after this we will definitely create sentences using this new word akan, but before that let's learn adverb of time. Okay, how do you say next week? If you are watching this on YouTube, you obviously can read it, it's in front of you. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, if you want to know the spelling of the words, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure, I believe there are a lot of people who are watching us on YouTube haven't subscribed yet. Why, guys? We need your support. Okay, so again, okay, go back. Next week is minggu depan. Okay, one more time. Ming. Okay, the nasal sound there. Minggu depan. Okay, follow me and repeat after me. Minggu depan. Okay, what about next month? Bulan depan. Okay, this is maybe going to be a little bit interesting for you. So bulan can mean month and the moon. So if you want to say the moon in the sky, you can say bulan also. Bulan. But and also in addition to the moon, bulan can also mean the month. That's cool, right? So the moon and the month is the same thing in Bahasa. Bulan. So again, next month is bulan depan. What about next year? Tahun depan. Okay? So there you go. Repeat that over and over again until you are comfortable saying it. What are the 4 new things that we learned just now? Akan, minggu depan, bulan depan, and tahun depan. Okay? If you are ready, and now we will move on to our next lesson. There you go. We will learn now about vocabulary. Okay, how do you say the in Bahasa? So the can be roughly translated to nya. Okay, again, roughly translated to nya in Bahasa. But the interesting thing is that in English you put the in front of the word, for example, or in front of the noun. For example, the book, the computer, the water, the room. But in Bahasa, you put the de or the nya, right? Nya, de is nya in Bahasa, after the word. So, for example, now, I believe you still remember, how do you say book in Bahasa? Book is buku. Okay, buku. So, the book is bukunya. Right? Makes sense. The computer. I believe you still remember, how do you say computer in Bahasa? Komputer. So the computer is komputernya. What about the water? Airnya. water is air. Again, if you haven't learned these basic words, go back to our previous lessons and you will learn that in our previous lesson. Okay, what about the room? The room is kamarnya. Okay, kamarnya. The food is makanannya. The price is harganya. Remember in Bahasa, you really pronounce the R, so you need to roll your tongue and make that sound. Harganya, harganya. Okay, not like price. Because in English, the R doesn't really hurt. I mean, you do not really make that rolling tongue sound, right? But in Bahasa, you do. So remember that. Okay, just to review, now I will go through it in a natural speed way of I saying it. Bukunya, komputernya, airnya, kamarnya, and harganya. Okay, so practice that. Very important vocabulary. So again, the point of this lesson, this part of the lesson is that if you want to say the, you say nya, but you do not put the nya in front of the word or the noun here. You put it instead at the end of the word or the noun. Okay, got it? Good job. Now we will move on. Okay, now we will learn sample sentences. Okay, so the first sentence is permisi. Apakah kamu akan membawa bukunya ke sekolah besok? Okay, so wait. Maybe now you are thinking, that sounds very complicated. Yes, if you have just listened to this episode, to this lesson, that maybe sounds intimidating to you and quite long. But if you had followed us since our very first episode and you have done your homework and you have practiced your homework, this is not that intimidating because we have learned all of it in our previous lesson. Okay? So again, now let's check it out. But by the way, again, if you haven't known about this, go back. Okay? Do not continue this lesson because this can be kind of hard. Go back and relearn. Okay? So let's now look at our first sentence here again. Permisi. What is permisi? Excuse me, right? Permisi is excuse me. So, apakah kamu akan membawa? Remember, akan. Remember that? It's will. So, in English, you can translate it to, will you bring the book? Bukunya. That's, there you go, right? The word that you have just learned. Bukunya, the book. To the school tomorrow. Okay? So, the first sentence is again, permisi. Apakah kamu akan membawa bukunya ke sekolah besok? That's the natural speed. If I slow it down, it would be, permisi. Apakah kamu akan membawa bukunya ke sekolah besok? Again, that's already complicated, man and woman out there. If you can say that and you 100% understand what I have said and what you have said, that's good. That's great. That's amazing. Wow, you have, I believe you have upgraded your level of Bahasa. Okay, sample sentence number 2. Maaf, mereka tidak akan membeli komputernya minggu depan. Okay, now slow it down a bit. Maaf, mereka tidak akan membeli komputernya minggu depan. Okay, so obviously now let's just translate it to English. What is maaf? Maaf is sorry, right? Mereka is they. Nah, how do you say will not? Very simple, just put tidak. So will not, tidak akan. So again, maaf, sorry, they will not buy the computer next week. Okay, so you use the 3 things that you have learned just now, which is akan, will, okay, komputernya, which is the computer, and you also learn next month, which is no, next week. Sorry guys, next week, which is minggu depan. Okay, so again, let's say the sentence again. Maaf, mereka tidak akan membeli komputernya minggu depan. Okay, and the last sentence for the sample sentences is, kami akan melihat kamarnya dengan seorang teman bulan depan. Okay, the slower version would be kami akan melihat kamarnya dengan seorang teman bulan depan. Okay, kami is of course, do you remember that? The pronoun we, right? We akan, will, we will see. Kamarnya, the word that you have just learned, which is the room, right? We will see the room with a friend next month. Okay, we learn how do we say with a friend, with a doctor, with a teacher in our previous lesson. So if you haven't learned that or if you forget that, go back and learn that. Okay. Okay, now let's yeah. So we have come to the end of our lesson 8 today. It's time for you to test yourself. So I will now tell you the English sentence and you need to translate it. Okay. So the first sentence is, will we buy the computer with a friend at school next week? One more time. Will we buy the computer with a friend at school next week? Okay. Number 2, she will not drink the water tomorrow. Again, she will not drink the water tomorrow. Number 3, they will watch the actor with a teacher next month. They will watch the actor with a teacher next month. Okay, so if you can translate that, go ahead and comment. If you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and comment below so we can check and we can tell you if you are making any mistake. Okay, or if you are listening to this on Spotify, you can go to our YouTube and you can write your answer there. Okay, so yeah, there you go. If you can answer that correctly, or if you are confident in your answer, then awesome, guys. You made a very good job. So yeah, again, if you want the lesson notes of all of our lessons, or if you want to buy books, or if you want to have a private lessons with me, you can email us at xspacebali@gmail.com. Because again, Bahasa Little Project is a project by Xspace Bali. And please, you can also support us by donating any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. Or you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. Okay? So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed and learned something from our podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead, email us or write on the comment section on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Dah. Sampai jumpa. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. And this is your level 1, a review lesson. Okay, so selamat datang kembali buat teman-teman yang pengen belajar bahasa Indonesia. So welcome back to those of you guys who want to learn more and improve your bahasa. And this is going to be a review lesson. Okay, so I will go through our previous lessons, some of it, and I will give you some summary. Okay, if you will. Why I'm making this review lessons, especially because I think it is very important to emphasize about the tenses. Okay, I just want to make it clear to you guys with regard to tenses in Bahasa. Okay, we don't have a strict rule of tenses, but we do have some. Okay, and so far we have covered about past tense. So if you want to say something in past tense in English, in Bahasa you just say the same thing. You just need to change the adverb of time. Okay, so again, this is just a reminder or a sum up of what we have learned. So basically, if you want to say, I ate yesterday and I always eat, you can just say and use the same word, which is makan. Okay, so I always eat is aku selalu makan. And then if you want to say I ate yesterday would be aku makan kemarin. Okay, and then if you want to say I will eat, it would be aku akan makan. So notice that there is nothing changes with the word makan. You just add verb of time for the past and the present. Okay, you just change that. In the past tense, you use kemarin for yesterday, and then for the present tense, you use selalu for always. But something different happened with the future tense, in which you are adding the word akan, which means will in English. Okay, so I just want to make that clear for you guys, because that's it really for past tense, future tense, and present tense. Okay, so for the past tense and present tense, you just need to change the adverb of time, and for the future tense, you need to put the additional word for will, which is akan. Okay, if that's clear for you, great. Because next in our next lessons, level 1, lesson 9, we will learn some more important grammar to improve your bahasa. Okay, so if you are ready to learn our next lessons, go ahead. I believe it will be uploaded right after we have uploaded this lesson, so go ahead and listen to that. And again, if you want to buy the lesson notes, the complete lesson notes of these lessons, or if you want to have a private lesson with me, go ahead, email us at xspacebali@gmail.com. You can also support us by donating any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali, or you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can also listen to our podcast on Spotify and vice versa. If you are listening to us on Spotify, you can watch us on YouTube, and you can also read the spelling of the words. For example, if you are curious about how to spell the words that we are learning in each lesson. Okay, so again, that's all the quick lesson, a review lesson for this occasion, and I will see you again very soon in our level 1 lesson 9. Dah, sampai jumpa. Hey, selamat datang di Bahasa Little Project. Dan ini merupakan level 1 lesson atau pelajaran ke-9. Okay, welcome back everyone. And now we will be learning a new grammar and also some new words and expression and some cool stuff. Okay? First of all, we will be learning about numbers. I know. If you have been following us so far, I know that I have made a claim that you guys have learned numbers previously, but it turned out that you haven't learned numbers. So here we are. I will teach you how to say numbers in Bahasa. This is very important. So you need to really listen carefully and pay attention. Okay, so let's start with 0. Okay, so you can, we have several names for 0. Let's start with that. But for now, we will just learn one way of saying it. Okay, in the future, we will cover more about 0. But for now, let's learn one way of saying 0. So if you want to say 0, 0 is kosong. Okay, in Bahasa. Say it again. Repeat it after me. Kosong. Make sure that you are pronouncing the nasal sound there. Kosong. Song. Like a song. Okay. So kosong. Okay. Kosong. Okay. Bonus lesson. The other way of saying 0 would be nol. Okay. Nol. Okay. Kosong. You are now maybe curious, in terms of usage, how do you differentiate between kosong and nol? So basically, kosong is usually used, let's say, for phone number. Okay, so 081. So there would be 081 in English, 081. So kosong is usually used again for phone number. If you are telling your phone number to somebody else, you can use kosong. But nol is for example, like for score. if you watch, let's say, soccer or football, if the score is 1-0, then if you want to say it in Bahasa, it would be 1-0. Okay? That would be the rough differentiation between the two, between kosong and nol. Okay? So that's 0. Kosong or nol. Nol. If you are curious about the spelling of nol, it's very simple, N-O-L. If you want to know the spelling of kosong, if you are not watching this lesson on YouTube, go ahead, go to our YouTube channel, Bahasa Little Project, and you will know how to spell kosong. Okay, move on now to one. One is satu. Okay, satu, satu, satu. Okay, two is dua, dua, dua. Okay, dua. Three is tiga, tiga, tiga. Four is empat, 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 empat. Okay. Five is lima, 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 lima. Six is enam, 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 enam. Okay. Seven is tujuh, tujuh or tujuh. But in Bahasa, we do not pronounce the H at the end of the word. So you do not pronounce it as tujuh, but tujuh. Okay, tujuh. And then now, 8 is delapan, delapan. Okay, our previous lesson is lesson 8, right? So lesson delapan. And now we have 9. 9 is sembilan. Okay, sembilan. And then our last number here is 10, which is sepuluh. Okay, sepuluh. Okay, so there you go. Try to pronounce it, try to say it over and over again, as fast as possible, as natural as possible. So I will now say the numbers in natural speed. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, this is something interesting to know. Also, for 10, you pronounce the H at the end of the word. So you really pronounce it as sepuluh. Okay? Not sepuluh, but sepuluh. Okay, one more time. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's, you are saying it in hurry a bit. But yeah, go ahead, say it over and over again until you are comfortable with your new words. Okay? Kosong. This is a very, very good exercise. Try to say your phone number in Bahasa. Okay? My phone number is 087860585899. Okay, if you can catch that, you can already contact me on WhatsApp. If you want private lesson, okay? You can WhatsApp me. Again, my phone number is 085. No. Wait. No, wrong. Okay, let me try it again. 087860585899. That's my phone number, and that's also my WhatsApp number as of January 2021. Okay, if you are listening to this or watching to this maybe in the future, like in 2030, I do not know, maybe my phone number has changed. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Now you know how to count in Bahasa from 0 to 10, from kosong to sepuluh. Okay, and also here I write down for you how do you spell level. Level is the same thing. Level, we have covered this in our previous lesson. Okay, and a lesson in Bahasa is pelajaran. Pelajaran. We have also covered that in our previous lesson. But I want to show you the spelling so you can write it down if you want. So let's say if you want, our next lesson would be pelajaran 10, right? So pelajaran lesson 10 is 10, lesson 10, pelajaran 10. Okay? So yeah, there you go. Go ahead and practice your numbers. you can also write down your phone number using the Bahasa spelling and comment on our YouTube channel so we can correct you if you want. Okay, so that's about number. Now let's learn about common names in Indonesia. Okay, I think this is just cool to know. We have common names in Bahasa in Indonesia, just like we have common names in English. Like John is very common, I believe, right? John, Robert, stuff like that. And we also have common names in Indonesia. For female, a lot of female in Indonesia, a lot of young lady and woman out there in Indonesia would have name like Putri. Okay, Putri would mean princess in English. Ayu, Ayu would mean beautiful or pretty, and Dewi. Dewi would mean like a goddess. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Putri, Ayu, and Dewi is very common, a very common names in Bahasa. So maybe if you want to name your kids in the future with Bahasa or Indonesian name, um, you can name your daughter as Putri, Ayu, or Dewi. Okay, Putri, again, Putri, princess, Ayu, beautiful, Dewi. Dewi is goddess. And for male, so for gentlemen, Indonesian gentlemen out there, we also have common names for them. Budi. Budi is like character in Bahasa in English. The rough translations. Okay, the Budi character, and then Agus. Well, I don't think we have any meaning of that, at least as far as I know. But Agus is very common, and also Anton, very common. Okay, so that's just additional knowledge for you guys if you want to know common names, or if you want to change your names, maybe if you want to go to Indonesia and you want to be called as like an Indonesian, you can change your name to Putri, Ayu, Dewi if you are female, or Budi, Agus, or Anton if you are male. Okay, so go ahead and change your name. Okay, so now we will be learning new vocabulary. We will be learning how do we say my and your, like my friend, your friend, my car, your car. Okay, so if you want to say my, you just put saya. So it's the same thing as I. We have covered I, right? Now I'm very sure that we have covered I. And if you haven't learned about it, go ahead and go back and relearn how you say I, you, they, we, he, say it in Bahasa. But now we will learn how do we say my. Okay? My is the same thing as I in Bahasa, which is saya. Okay? So repeat after me. My is saya. Your is kamu or mu. Okay? So you can just shorten kamu to mu. Okay? To means your. Okay? We will make sample phrases in a second. But again, for your, you can use either kamu or the shortened one, the shortened kamu, which is mu, just mu, mu, mu. Okay. So how do you say friend in Bahasa? We have covered that in our previous lesson. Friend is teman, right? So my friend, teman saya. So this is very important. In English, you put my and your in front of the noun. But in Bahasa, you put your, my, and your, or saya, or kamu, or mu at the end or after the noun. So again, my friend is teman saya. Your friend would be teman kamu or temanmu. My car would be mobil saya. Your car would be mobil kamu or mobilmu. Okay? And then my house would be rumah saya. Okay? And your house would be rumahmu or rumah kamu. Now you can practice using saya and kamu or mu and make simple sentences. Okay? I think we have learned about how you say book, computer in our previous lessons, and now you can learn about how do you say, let's say, your computer or your book, my computer, etc. Okay, go ahead and practice. Okay, so if you have practiced that, now it's time for us to learn sample sentences. Number one is, apakah mereka akan membawa 9 mobilmu besok? Oke, apakah mereka akan membawa 9 mobilmu besok? Okay, so apakah mereka again would be will they? Okay, because akan here, right? Akan is will, so will they bring 9 cars of yours or 9 of your car tomorrow? Okay, so again, apakah mereka akan membawa 9 mobilmu besok? Will they bring 9 cars of yours or your 9 cars tomorrow? Okay, very important. Number 2 is Budi tidak membeli 3 komputer bulan lalu. Okay, Budi didn't buy 3 computers last month. So this is in past tense. And remember, we don't really have plural or singular form of noun. Okay, so because in English, 1 computer is 1 computer, right? And 3 is 3 computers. So you add the S after the word computer. But in Bahasa, we don't have anything like that. Okay, so 1 computer is 1 komputer. 3 computers is 3 komputer. Okay, nothing changed with the computer. So again, Budi tidak membeli 3 komputer bulan lalu. There would be Budi did not buy 3 computers last month. And our last sample sentences is kami biasanya menonton TV di rumah saya dengan Anton. Kami biasanya menonton TV di rumah saya dengan Anton. So, we usually watch TV in my house with Anton. There you go. You have the future tense, the past tense, and the present tense. Okay, so go ahead and practice those sample sentences. And if you are ready, we will give you some tests so you can practice even more. So, okay, so this is the time for you to test yourself if you have learned and mastered the things that we have covered just now. The question number 1 is, will my friend bring 2 books tomorrow? Go ahead, translate that. Again, will my friend bring 2 books tomorrow? Go ahead and write the answer to the comment box in our YouTube so we can correct if you are making any mistake. The question number 2 is, they did not see your teacher last week. How do you say that in Bahasa? They did not see your teacher last week. And the last sentence is, Anton usually cooks at home with a friend. Again, Anton usually cooks at home with a friend. Okay, so if you have followed us from our very first lesson, I have no doubt that you would be able to translate that into Bahasa. If you have any difficulty or if you want to learn more and to have private lessons with us, you can email us at xspacebali@gmail.com. And also you can support us by donating any amount to paypal.me at /xspacebali. Or you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Bahasa Little Project. Again, if you are listening to this on Spotify, you can watch the lesson and also read the spelling of the lessons and everything else on YouTube or vice versa, okay? This project, this Bahasa Little Project is brought to you by Xspace Bali, so you can learn more with us there. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed our lesson today and I will see you again very soon. Sampai jumpa. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. Ini adalah level 1 pelajaran ke-10. So yeah, welcome to all of you to our last lesson of this level. Yeah, I believe this is going to be our last lesson. for this level. So if you have followed us up to this point, congratulations. I believe you have made a good progress for your basic Bahasa. I believe you can go out there now and really use your Bahasa skill in real life context. Go visit me. I'm in Bali right now. And we can practice our Bahasa and you can explore Indonesia. But I know if you are listening to this or watching to this in 2021 or in 2020, most likely you are still cannot visit me because we have the pandemic, right? But yeah, you can still practice your Bahasa and you can visit me when you are ready. Okay, visit Indonesia and learn more about Bahasa in real life context. Okay, so now we will learn another grammar. We will be learning how do you use your to be in English, is, am, are, was, were in Bahasa. This is the good news. Is, am, are, was, and were are all translated into one small word in Bahasa, which is adalah. Okay, so repeat after me. Adalah, adalah, adalah. Okay, if you are listening to this on Spotify and if you want to know the spelling of adalah, go ahead to our YouTube channel and you will be able to see it on the video. Okay, so again, is, am, are, was, and were in Bahasa is one simple word, which is adalah. Okay, adalah. So the natural speed would be adalah, 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 adalah. So, the slower version would be adalah. Okay, all right. So that's the first word. The second word that we will learn now is this. This is ini, ini. Okay, this, ini. What about that? That is itu. This, ini, that, itu. Ini, itu ini, itu, ini. Try to follow me on that. Can you do that? Ini, itu, ini, itu, ini. Okay, I'm not making any sense. But okay, that's it, okay? The most important three words that we will learn in this lesson adalah, ini, and itu. Okay? Adalah, ini, and itu. So now, what about making sample and nice sentence using these new words? Number one, how do you say, this is my house? Ini adalah rumah saya. Okay? You have learned how to construct my house, my friend, my computer in our previous lesson. So if you haven't learned about it, go ahead, go back and learn it. And learn it. Not learn it. Learn it. Okay? So again, this is my house is ini adalah rumah saya. What about that is your friend? In Bahasa would be itu adalah temanmu or teman kamu. Yeah, we have learned that variations in our previous lesson also. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Very important lesson. Okay, so practice that, and if you have practiced that, now we will learn more vocabularies. We will learn how do you say name. Name is nama. So quite similar, right? Nama. So your name would be namamu or nama kamu, right? So name is nama, quite similar to English. Address is alamat. Again, alamat. 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 Okay? Live or to live, okay, is tinggal. I live in Bali. Saya tinggal di Bali. Saya tinggal di Indonesia. I live. Okay? What about like? Like is suka. 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 What about have or has? Have or has is memiliki. This is quite long, okay? Memiliki. Again, memiliki. That's the natural speed, memiliki. Okay, so those are several very important vocabularies. Nama, alamat, tinggal, suka memiliki. Okay, again, name is nama, address is alamat, live is tinggal, like is suka, have or has is memiliki. So there you go. Go practice that. Very important. Okay, so we will also now learn, if you are ready, two very important phrases, which is nice to meet you and see you later. Number one is nice to meet you. Nice to meet you is senang bertemu dengan Anda. Okay, so senang is nice. Okay, nice bertemu is to meet. Okay, so senang bertemu is nice to meet. You is Anda. Okay, so now you are maybe quite confused because you have learned that you is kamu or mu, but now we have Anda. Well, Anda is the formal version of kamu. Kamu is kind of informal and colloquial way of saying you, but Anda is more formal. For those if you are introducing yourself for the very first time, and if you want to address someone who is higher in rank, for example, your boss, you want to say Anda, not kamu. So again, nice to meet you is senang bertemu dengan Anda. Okay, senang bertemu dengan Anda, the normal speed. And the second phrase is see you later, sampai jumpa. Okay, so you cannot translate this now, this to English, because sampai means until actually, jumpa mean meet in English. So sampai jumpa, the rough translation would be until meet, maybe until we meet again, right? So yeah, maybe you can translate it that way. Or yeah, sure. But again, the important thing here is if you want to say see you later or until we meet again, you can say sampai jumpa. Sampai jumpa. Sampai jumpa. Okay, again to review, our first phrase senang bertemu dengan Anda, nice to meet you, and see you later is sampai jumpa. Sampai jumpa. Sampai jumpa. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Now we will learn sample sentences. Our first sentence is, halo, selamat pagi. Nama saya John. Senang bertemu dengan Anda. Terima kasih. There you go. If you really follow us and really do your job, you now can introduce yourself in Bahasa. How cool is that? Thank you, Bahasa Little Project. Right? So yeah, go ahead and repeat up to me. Halo, selamat pagi. Nama saya John. Senang bertemu dengan Anda. Terima kasih. Okay? Again, the translation would be, hello, good morning. My name is John. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Okay? Sentence number 2 is, mereka suka tinggal di rumah saya setiap hari. Mereka suka tinggal di rumah saya setiap hari. We have learned all of these words in our previous lesson. They like to stay in my house every day. Ini adalah mobil saya. This is the sentence number 3. Ini adalah mobil saya. Saya memiliki 8 mobil. Apakah kamu suka mobil saya? Okay, so the English would be, this is my car. I have 8 cars. Do you like my car? Okay, so yeah, practice that. If you can say that in a speed, in a normal speed or close to my speed, you are ready to go out there and just rock and roll in Bahasa. Okay, ini adalah mobil saya memiliki 8 mobil. Apakah kamu suka mobil saya? And also maybe try to mimic my accent, but you do not really need to do that though. Okay, so this is the last part of our lesson. Okay, so this is the time for you to test yourself. So try to translate these sentences into English, okay? Number 1 is, selamat pagi. Apakah kamu melihat mobil saya? Saya membeli 5 mobil kemarin. Okay, slower. Selamat pagi. Apakah kamu melihat mobil saya? Saya membeli 5 mobil kemarin. Again, if you have followed us in our first lesson, you will be able to know what this sentence means. Number 2, Ayu tidak akan tinggal di rumah Anton besok. Dia akan tinggal di rumah saya. Ayu tidak akan tinggal di rumah Anton besok. Dia akan tinggal di rumah saya. How do you say it in bahasa? No. How do you say it in English? Nama saya Budi. Nama kamu? How do you say that? Okay? Nama saya Budi. Nama kamu? So nama kamu, this is maybe a new phrase for you. Let me help you with this. So nama kamu is, what is your name? Okay, what is your name? So if you want to say what is your name, in English is nama kamu or your name, right? Or the better translation would be what is your name? So what is your name and your name is the same thing in Bahasa, which is nama kamu. Or the formal version would be nama Anda. Okay, so again, go ahead, practice that. Write down your answer in our YouTube comment. Okay, and we will have a look and we will correct you if you are making any mistake. So again, very good work if you have finished all the lessons in this level. And in the next level, we will learn more. But after this, we'll teach you Bahasa Bali first. Okay, so this is how it will work. We will have a Bahasa Indonesia for one level, and then we will have Bahasa Bali for another level, and then we will have Bahasa Indonesia again, and stuff like that over and over again. Okay, so I hope that you have enjoyed our lesson this time, and go practice, and we will meet you again. Okay, we will meet you, of course, in level 2. We will learn more about Bahasa Indonesia. And if you are also interested to learn about Bahasa Bali, we will cover that in our next video. We will learn Bahasa Bali for one level before we continue to the level 2 of Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so again, go practice. Email us if you want to have private lessons with me. You can support us on PayPal. You can follow us on Instagram. Okay, and if you not listening this on Spotify, you can also listen to our podcast on Spotify. Okay, good job. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa.
Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is Level 1, Lesson 1. I'm Alit, your tutor. These lessons and through the future lessons, you will learn a lot about Bahasa Indonesia. Before we start delving into the grammar and vocabulary, let's start this lesson by some interesting fact. First of all, Bahasa is spoken by more than 200 million people. Imagine that. If you just simply know how to say hi or hello in Bahasa, you would be able to say hi to more than 200 million people. And I think you have heard about Bali. Bali is one part of Indonesia, and Indonesia also have 17,508 islands. So it means that if you go to Indonesia and travel Indonesia and go to Bali, you would be able to enjoy your vacation much more because now you can speak the local language, right? So yeah, so those are some interesting facts about Bahasa, and now let's get started. In this lesson, you will first of all learn about formal and informal Bahasa. We will tell you what is formal Bahasa and what is informal Bahasa. And after that, we will learn some very basic grammar, and then we will learn some vocabulary, and also we will learn some sample sentences and create your very first sentences in Bahasa, so you can practice your Bahasa right away. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, let's start by explaining and telling you what is the difference between formal and informal Bahasa. So basically there are two types of Bahasa, formal and informal Bahasa. Formal Bahasa are Bahasa that is used for formal occasions. For example, business meeting, lecture, if you go to university in Indonesia or something like that, Or if you meet a person for the very first time, you will usually need formal bahasa, and you would usually use formal bahasa. And then number two, we have informal bahasa. This is a form of bahasa that is usually used for like close friends or your family members or people or persons that you already know for a long time. And in these lessons and some future lessons, you will be introduced with formal bahasa first, because you cannot go wrong usually with formal bahasa, and usually you will use your bahasa with people that you just know, right, to introduce yourself and stuff like that. And therefore it is much better if you know formal bahasa first. But of course in the future you will learn informal bahasa and talk more casually. So now let's just start this lesson by learning some grammar. As you know, grammar is the most important thing, very basic. It is important for you to understand very basic grammar of any language that you are learning. And today we will be learning subject pronouns. Okay, the subject pronoun of Bahasa, it is quite simple. Like number one is, how do you say I? I is saya. Okay, I is saya. So it is not very complicated. So saya, I. And then how do you say you? You is kamu. So ka and mu. So you have kamu. And then how do you say they? They is mereka. Okay, try to always say it after me. Okay, repeat after me so that you also learn how to say the word correctly. So again, how do you say they? They is mereka. Mereka. Now next, how do you say kami? Sorry, how do you say we? How do you say we? We is kami. Kami. Okay, how do you say she or he? Now this is something interesting, because in Bahasa, there is no she and there is no he. You just simply say the same word, which is dia. Again, dia. Okay, and then how do you say it or that? It is itu. Again, itu. So yeah, so those are the most basic grammar that you will learn today, and those are the subject pronouns in Bahasa. So now let's try to quiz yourself. So try not to look to the video if you are watching this on YouTube, or just simply test yourself. Okay, I will say the English subject pronouns and try to answer the question using the Bahasa version. Number one, how do you say I? 1, 2, 3. Saya. How do you say they? Mereka. How do you say she or he? 1, 2, 3. It's dia. Good. So try to repeat that over and over again until you master the subject pronouns in Bahasa. Okay? So yeah. After we have now learned about some grammar, now it's time for us to learn a little bit about vocabulary. So now let's learn about vocabulary or kosakata in Bahasa Indonesia. You do not need to memorize kosakata for now, because it is a bit advanced. But for now, we will learn 4 basic verbs that you will use every day in your Bahasa, exercise. So how do you say eat? Eat is makan. Makan. How do you say go? Go is pergi. So as you can see here, we pronounce the R quite clearly. So it is kind of like Spanish. If you guys speak Spanish out there, I think you will notice that Indonesian pronounce the R quite similar to the Spanish language. To the Spanish. So it's pergi. Again, pergi. And how do you say drink in Bahasa? It's minum. Num. Minum. And how do you say bye? Bye is membeli. Membeli. Okay, so again, try to repeat it over and over again until you master it and you can pronounce it, comfortably. Now, before we move on, let's learn two useful expressions. I think learning expression is very important in your language learning, whatever language you are learning, because useful expression is something that you actually can use right away. So you can already say